I've heard some operators claim that, they care a lot about us when we're in and we have a job to do and we're doing work for them. And as soon as you swipe that card and you're out the building for the last time, goodbye, drink yourself to death. It's like you've been replaced. The train doesn't slow down. So do you feel like the high ranking, in your case, the admirals, the people that oversee SEAL Team 6, do you think that they care if a retired guy drinks himself into the grave, does drugs, deals with depression, or do they only care while you're useful to them?
They definitely care, right? I can't say like they definitely care, right? But at those higher levels, right, of leaders, they generalize us a little bit more, like we're call signs a little bit, right? So like I don't know, if one guy fucks up this, we stop that, and nobody can go out or whatever, like um but no, I felt that when I got out, but it was never from your closest guys, your close team. They were just, they were supportive of whatever the reasons are. I didn't retire. I left early for my reasons. But I did feel that a little bit where it's like, oh, you're a quitter. And, you know, that's just another part of that sort of toxic part of it. Right. Like everybody's got, like I said, underneath the machine, being a machine, you're an individual also, right? So it's a culture thing, that changes through time. I think the old school guys were a little better about understanding this before these commands and units sort of, honestly, weak leaders allowed the special to kind of get sucked out of it. The special part of special forces, in my opinion, is like that we are individuals underneath being machines. That's where we get camaraderie from. And when you start to, it's a different sacrifice that guys make in special forces than the general, than they're still valid. Everybody's valid in what they do, but the level of sacrifice that goes in with that is like you're constantly training to kill. You're killing, which goes completely against what I believe is in human nature, right? We're all, I don't mean this in like a hippy dippy way, but we're souls, we're love, we're right. We're not toxic, hateful creatures, right? So when you kind of sacrifice who you are as a person, at different levels to go do that, and then that's the hard part, is coming back after. Like that's the thing, right? So yes, I think they care. And then it's just the stuff, the fucking stuff that distracts from policies and things, and allowing, more of the conventional Navy or Army or military to sort of influence your command into being back, like taking. And then sometimes they see it as entitlement. I'm like, it's not entitlement, man. These guys we need validation for the sacrifice that we make, right? And so
Let me ask about, when you say, give me an example of something they would cite as entitlement that you would say that's not entitlement. That's just something we need in return for the things we do.
here's a good, it's like, dude, guys, we are the operators. We shouldn't be coming home from deployment. I don't know if this is true or not. There just was it one time, right, where the captain or whoever decided, like, these guys are fucking entitled, I'm going to teach them a lesson. And we were standing on watch for fucking 24 hours in the front chair of the command for people to go in and out. Like, you spent the night there, right, after you just had this deployment, and you're like, I don't even care if it's new guys, is like, that was ridiculous. Okay. So I'm just a stupid example of that. Like, no, and just other things. I can think of a whole bunch, but just that feeling of it changes over time, right? And even the support, it's like, yeah, we can't do operations without all the support, but also small unit tactics has always been, yes, you can. Like, you don't need all this stuff to go accomplish a mission. You need some basic tools and the guys and a plan, right? So yeah, I'm just trying to simplify that answer a little bit.
When you think, one of the things you and I have texted about a lot is kind of this double standard where the operator the guys that are the enlisted the enlisted guys, the guys going out kicking indoors, they open their mouth, they say something, they're a villain. They're a bad guy. They get PNG'd, they get kicked out. But if you're an admiral and you write a New York Times bestseller book and you get a CNN job and you get $1 million a year board seat at Boeing, that's totally fine. So explain the hypocrisy of how that works.
If you're a guy that persecutes, operators for doing the stuff, the things that, right, you don't care whether it's respectful or disrespectful. Well, when you're active duty, you can't do those things anyways, right? But there has been some cases where guys have done some, like a commercial thing for a video game, whatever, or wrote some part of a book without getting permission, because that's what you have to do. So like I said, that's the code. It's in the policy, right? That you can't do those things. So if people do, that's like, then you deal with it, right? But it's stuff, dude. It's the brotherhood is underneath all of that always. Okay, so when those sort of bigwig type dudes go do that and are sort of like hip, then you're a hypocrite. So like, stop doing that. Right. So as well as we shouldn't be doing those things when we're active duty, neither should they. I've seen so many, times where a commander or an admiral or general or whatever was like, oh, hey, we've got some like high net worth dudes coming to visit the command or something for some reason. And I'm going to go tell them, I'm going to go give them it's not even a story. It's a brief. It's a debrief about something we're doing or something we did. I'm like, that's it too, So that's part of the whole solution that I'm so anxious to get to for all of the stuff.
Well, real quick before we dive into that, because it goes back to what you were talking about, watching the movies, writing the books, and all that stuff. After the Bin Laden raid, I don't know if you know this, you might, some of the audience probably doesn't. I spoke with a CIA official. She openly talked about how they brought in members from Red Squadron that were on that raid to meet with the filmmakers to tell them what had happened so they could make a movie about it. So
no, I'm not lying. Go ahead.
How is that acceptable? But people doing podcasts, that's not.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say both aren't when you're active duty. Like, nobody should be doing a podcast when they're
right. Of course, I'm saying after the right.
But yeah, after the fact, and if that happened during, like right after, like, it's even worse. So I just it's just like there, yeah, clean that up. There's just I honestly don't look into a lot of these things. I'm so busy with my things. I loosely follow different things going on and guys, and I have a close circle of friends I do stuff with, and I know about, I know their lives. But in that instance, I didn't really know that happened. Even to this day, I thought that maybe somebody went and like snuck off and consulted or something like that. But it doesn't. My point is that it's just fucking stuff, dude. Right. So there's other bigger problems. Veteran suicide is a much bigger problem than this fucking shit.